I'm Glenn McGinnis, and this is Outburst. This week, is a third wave more of a challenge for you?
From a mental health standpoint, likely the third wave has been the more hard.
We go back in lockdown, I've already done it, so I kind of know what to do.
I want to get life back to normal.
This third wave has definitely been very hard.
In the midst of this third wave, cases have shot up in different parts of the country that did reasonably well for the duration of the pandemic. This means restrictions were put back in place, and in some places more severe than before, with the hopes of flattening the curve until everyone can be vaccinated. Being confined to our homes day in and day out is not easy, and many of us miss the things we used to do before. But with summer right around the corner, our patients may be tested if these restrictions stay put. So we took this question to Canadians. Is the third wave more of a challenge for you?
Yeah, absolutely. With this third wave and the increased restrictions and knowing a little bit more about the virus, we're all looking at each other, I think, on the streets as potential threats, which is unfortunate. But yes, it certainly has been more challenging, and especially to follow the restrictions closely.
I would say no. I kind of came to terms with it fairly early on, and I'm comfortable, to a degree, living with it because I'm pretty careful. Generally speaking, this is the first time I've spoken face-to-face with somebody without a mask for a long time, so this is the exception.
Not me personally, but I know many people have, and again, I think it's really important that we all do our part and keep each other safe and try and get through this and persevere through and get some normalcy back.
How have people told you that it's been more challenging for them?
Well, I just know people in the healthcare, I know people in different industries, and it's affected so many lives in so many different ways. And but again, like anything, we do have to work together and think of each other first and foremost. And I think if we can do that, we would all be in a better place.
It's just all the same wave. Like, it's just scary. Like, we're closing in on 4 million people in the world dead so far, and there's still some shaking out to be done. And the third wave thing, it's just more of the same, and it's going to be a little while before we break the fever, as it were.
I'm actually a nurse. I work in home care, so I'm not front line. I'm finding it more of a challenge, just trying to keep people on track and keep people aware, active, aware, wearing masks, distancing. So, yeah, I am finding it a little bit more of a challenge. I think people are just getting really weary of it and getting very lax with the rules. And yeah, I'm finding it more of a challenge.
Yeah, absolutely. But I'm 18, right? And so like a year ago, I was living with my parents. This year, I'm living alone. So like it's a little more lonely this go around. But that's about the only difference. Just that my living situation's a little different this time around.
Yes, it definitely has been. Being a DJ in Saskatoon, we have definitely been affected by COVID. Our jobs have completely dried up. With all the clubs and bars being closed, we haven't had a chance to recuperate our finances. So this third wave has definitely been very hard.
I am not that affected because I'm working from home 3 days in a week and 2 days in the office, and our office has been very, very careful with they're taking care of us. So for me, it's not, and I'm used to being at home, even though pre-COVID, so we're okay. My family's okay.
From a mental health standpoint, likely the third wave has been the more hard. From a planning and adapting life, it's been similar to the first couple waves, but it's just weighing more mentally on it every day.
Not necessarily. I've been unemployed for a little bit now, and nothing has really changed for me. I'm not really doing much. I'm doing a little bit of outdoor socializing in a situation like this, but no, nothing's really changed.
Well, I think the first wave was a lot of unknowns. As we get to know more and vaccinations are coming out, I feel that we're getting some answers, but the variants also are a worry as well. So it's like something that just doesn't go away.
I think in terms of for me, I've been dealing with it fairly well. I'm one of those people that I think I'm trying to follow the health orders as much as possible, and I'm trying to do whatever I can do best in my power to help all the Manitobans. So it's definitely been a year and 3 months that have been very different. But I think we as Manitobans, we got to do what we got to do to get for the times to get better as soon as possible. So it's been a challenge, but I think it's a challenge that I welcomed.
Honestly, no, not really. I don't think. Actually, probably less so because it's summertime or spring, so we can be outside a bit more. And yeah, but I'm actually pretty okay with the isolating and staying home and all that stuff.
I don't believe so. We're like almost near summer, so then you can actually go outside, which is nice instead of just being like inside all the time. I feel like we have practice. We're getting the vaccines out, which is really good. But yeah, I feel like overall it won't be.
No, I'm managing it. I think it's a challenge for a lot of people, though. I just think that it's a lot. I think we're losing faith in the government because of the inconsistencies as far as the rules are concerned. A lot of half measures. I think that combined with the mental health stress of being under lockdown, it's kind of a perfect storm.
The fatigue from abiding by restrictions, the itchingness to get on with it, the fact that I have been vaccinated, so I want to get life back to normal. So yes, I really have some frustrations, but totally I'm going to abide by the restrictions.
Yeah, I think it is really, because I think aside from the fact that we're limited to what we can do, I think there's a psychological thing too, that will we ever get out of this, you know?
No, I think it's more frustrating that we have a third wave, but I think I'm more prepared than I was during, the second wave or the first wave.
How so?
I kind of just know how to handle it. I mean, we go back in lockdown, I've already done it, so I kind of know what to do.
One of the main priorities for the federal government right now is to get vaccine shots to everyone who wants one by the end of September, despite criticism that the rollout has been somewhat slow. But once the provinces receive the vaccines, it's their responsibility to distribute it. So, how's it going in your part of the country? Our question.
How would you rate the vaccine rollout in your province?
Not ideal. Obviously, it's a little bit frustrating having seen how America handled, for example, like how America handled COVID previously and then how they're handling it now. It's a little bit like, it's hard to not feel a little frustrated with that, I guess. And even with like the new phase plan that's been released, it's a little misguided, I think, with opening things up, because like even in retail, for example, the majority of people in retail are young adults, and those young adults will remain unvaccinated and will be exposed to hundreds of people a day. So I don't know, it's not great.
My general approach is to not be, hindsight's 20/20 on everything. I think everything could always be done better, especially on a large scale. I try to not get too hard on government because I think they're doing the best they can with what they have. Having said that, I would rate it low in the sense of had we gone back in time, I wish we would have given vaccines to frontline workers, not just certain medical professionals, but teachers, police officers, that sort of thing, and potentially even younger individuals who are still going to work every day, keeping the economy open, as opposed to, and I love my parents and I'm so happy they have it, but they have the luxury of staying inside. They don't have to be out in public type thing. So I think we maybe could have considered that a bit different across the country.
You know, I think it's been really tough for everyone, and it would be really easy to criticize people for the rollout, but throughout the world, across Canada and throughout the world, that's been the same situation. It's a new and developing situation. Nobody really had a handle on it. Nobody knew where it was going. So I think it's been really difficult for everyone. I'm not in favor of a lot of the policies of the government we have right now, but I can't say that they did any worse job with the vaccine rollout than anyone else. In fact, I think they've done a better job than some.
I think that this government has done an adequate job, but I do certainly see areas where they could have improved, where their response could have been better and faster. Having said that, I know this is a unique situation that we're faced here, but I think we could have taken some direction from some of the larger provinces as well in terms of getting those vaccines out and into people's arms sooner. So I think the government has done an adequate job, but I think there is a lot of room for improvement.
I don't know, probably rated a B minus. There's been from what I hear, I only know what I talk to friends in Alberta, friends in other provinces, and I think we're fairly average. It could be better, but I think we've been doing all right.
I think it's very, very good. Yeah, because back home, they can't get the vaccine like what we have here. So I think Canadians, especially Saskatchewan people, are very, very lucky to have the vaccine free, and they can just drive in and get the vaccine. So if you can get the chance, have vaccinated, so we can open up right away.
In this province, for Saskatchewan, I've been quite impressed with it. Certainly with any plan, there would be areas that I would probably do differently or change myself, but as all in all, from a planning perspective, it seems to have gone rather smoothly, and we've done a good job of getting needles in arms as quickly as possible.
I think it was pretty bad at first, but I think they've picked up the pace. And I think Pallister stepped out of the way and let the people that know what they're doing do it. So I think they did a good job.
It was a little scarce at first, but I would say as of now we're generally doing pretty good. The age rates are slowly going lower and lower. I know if you live in certain areas, if you're 18 plus. So I would say it's getting better as time rolls on.
I would say it's good. Yeah, the government doing the best they can, and our seniors are protected, so that's the main thing.
I think that the vaccine rollout in our particular province has been poor when it's compared to not only other provinces but other countries. Not only that, but there seems to be a lack of transparency and honesty about how much vaccine we have. Now, having said that, nobody's done this in 100 years, and nobody really knows how this is supposed to happen. There's no rule book. But it certainly could have been faster when you compare it to the state right to the south of us that seems to have less vaccine on their shelves than we have, and has done a better job of putting it in people's arms.
I mean, there are certainly things where I thought, maybe I would have done it differently if I was in control, but overall, I don't know. I think it's going okay. It seems to be picking up speed now and doing all right.
As a young person, I'm still in high school, so I'm still a teenager. I'm definitely going to be last of the line. I feel like having everyone else go first is actually a benefit, because then you get to see the side effects and you're not the first one being affected by it. So I'm kind of happy I'm one of the last people to get the vaccines, and hopefully they get to improve it and it gives them more time.
I've had my first one. I think they're doing a great job just being to one of the super centers, but I wish it was faster to get that herd immunity so that we can control it better.
Terrible. I think Pallister is making a real mess of things, and I think the priorities have been pretty skewed. I think that they should have prioritized teachers and obviously healthcare workers, but anybody front lines working with the public should have gotten front of the line.
Which of the following U.S. presidents did not visit Canada during their term in office? Was it Harry Truman, John F. Kennedy, or Jimmy Carter? The answer: Jimmy Carter. Since the administration of President Franklin Delano Roosevelt, visiting Canada had become a tradition followed by most U.S. presidents. Warren G. Harding became the first U.S. president to visit Canada back in 1923. However, Jimmy Carter is one of the only presidents since FDR who never came to Canada while in office. He's joined by his predecessor, Gerald Ford, who also never set foot on Canadian soil during his short time as president. Jimmy Carter was the 39th American president from 1977 to 1981. Serving just one term. And although Carter never visited Canada while president, he and Pierre Trudeau were said to have formed a great bond and had an excellent working relationship.
As part of the recent federal budget, the Liberal government announced it would be raising the minimum wage to $15 per hour for all federally regulated industries. The Trudeau government says these measures will benefit roughly 26,000 federal workers who currently make under $15 per hour. But again, this applies to federally regulated industries and not to the provincial minimum wage level, which will vary depending on where you live. So we took this question to Canadians.
What do you think of a $15 per hour minimum wage?
I mean, there's always pros and cons with everything. I just feel like right now, $15 would be a good news for people in this difficult time. I'm not an economist. I don't know exactly much about the economy, but just trying to use maybe make sense, I think it'd be a good thing. I think it'll make a lot of people happy in this stressful time.
I think it's reasonable that there should be a $15 minimum wage, but even that is not a livable wage. So people need to be educated so they can get better jobs.
I would love that. I'm a teenager, so I definitely, I start minimum wage jobs and that's what I'm working. So being able to make more would be amazing. And also gas is super expensive now. So just being able to pay for stuff like that would be great.
Oh, 100%. We shift 15 an hour. You can't live on minimum wage full time, let alone even fathoming the idea of having a family on minimum wage. Yeah, we definitely need a more livable wage in Manitoba.
The more money you pay workers, the more is coming back into the economy. And anybody who doesn't agree with that is really stupid, because rich people save their money. Poor people that work for $15 an hour are going to spend it, and it goes round and round.
Well, I'm happy that it's going to go, it would go up to 15. So I feel like that's perfect for people in my age group. I with cost of living and how it is, Manitoba's a good place for that. But even then, anything lower than that, it just gets harder to start a family and stuff for the younger folks. So having 15 an hour would just help with that so much more.
The second that people can live off of minimum wage, it means that other jobs that pay $15 now have to be more competitive with their wages. I just say in general, it's a better thing for everyone.
I used to work in retail, so I understand. However, it means that people of lower wages are working more than one job. And wouldn't it be nice if they could work one job and give their all to that, and then be paid what they're worth?
I think it is fair and reasonable, and we really do need to look at increasing minimum wage, just a standard of living and a quality of life for people. Often many people are working two jobs just to sustain their monthly overhead costs and living. So yeah, I would agree with it for sure.
I think it's about time if they do that. Yeah, we need that. It's going to raise the cost of everything else, but it's going to help out those that are in need or having a tough time making rent, and they know how to stretch a buck, so they'll manage if things go up.
Yeah, I think 15 would be good, because when back before it was $11.25 in Ontario, and I couldn't make ends meet then, but with 15 I can.
Oh, I think that'll drive up the prices and costs of everything else. I understand it's important, but it's not I don't think what we need.
Well, I think it's necessary in today's society. I believe everything's going up in prices, so they should get the break as well.
Absolutely, that should be the bare minimum. Should be $15 an hour, especially in this economy where people are working less for not very good pay, and actually we would like to see not only $15 an hour, but we'd like to see more full-time jobs as well, so people can be able to feed themselves and feed their families.
As a parent of young adults, I think it's great, actually. And, good minimum wage makes good living standards for everybody. So, yeah, no, I'm all for it.
Not for or against it. Would want to hear the arguments on both sides of the fence for it. I do think probably, especially in Saskatchewan, we need our minimum raise or wage raised here. But that being said, I can appreciate it different places across the country, different levels of minimum wage would be necessary, and maybe a one-fits-all standard doesn't apply.
Great idea. Probably 18 would be better.
How so?
Well, people need a living wage. And I know that business always says, well, it's going to drive the cost of everything up. It's going to put us out of business. But I don't agree with that. I think that, it'll be fair competition amongst everyone. I don't think it'll hit anybody too hard. People with more money to spend will spend it. It'll all even out a little bit in favor of the people at the bottom.
That's a good start. Universal basic income would be better, I think, to get things started, especially I think the pandemic has really shown us that we need that sort of thing as a stepping stone for a lot of people.
To me, it seems a little bit low in terms of I wish we all had a base income of $1 million, living in an idealist world. Do I think it's good we're bumping up to a $15 minimum wage across the country? Yes. Do I always want to see it going higher with inflation? Yes. Do I think it's representative of probably where we're going with inflation? Probably not. But small steps at a time.
Activities we enjoyed before the pandemic seem so far off now. Dining out at restaurants, going to concerts, or even hanging out with friends were all things we did for fun before the pandemic. So after more than 1 year of adhering to COVID restrictions across the country, it's becoming abundantly clear that many Canadians are longing for life the way it was before. So when you reflect on your life pre-COVID, what comes to mind? Our question.
What do you miss most about life before the pandemic?
Everything. Not having to wear a mask, just walking into restaurants when you feel like it, shopping, picnicking, doing whatever you used to do. You took for granted. It makes you kind of think of the countries where people have no freedoms. Kind of, again, how lucky are we in Canada?
I miss seeing my kids. Like when we had the +2, I could see 2, but not 3. That's it. But it makes you appreciate maybe what we took for granted was seeing family and friends.
Just that interaction with people. But like I said, we gotta stay disciplined, and hopefully it's not going to last for too long, and we can go back to doing normal things again. And missing Christmas was tough. Thanksgiving, like those family gatherings. So I think that I think I speak to a lot of people when I say family, number one. So that's probably the part that I miss the most.
The regular everyday interactions with humans is something that I miss. I mean, I do lots of Zoom, I do lots of FaceTime, but it's not the same as, hey, like seeing you guys and, just talking for a bit. Right. I miss going to quilt shows and, doing things with people.
Family, friends, all of those things that we just did. It's something that you miss a lot because sitting down for Christmas or birthdays, and now you're doing it through Zoom and Skype. Trying to maintain social distancing, that sort of thing, and getting a little tired of the same old, like going out for a walk, watching Netflix. Working in your yard. It would be nice if we could do something different.
What do I miss about life pre-pandemic is mostly the freedom to have the independence to roam, to see any friends that we want to see, it's a loss of independence and freedom. That's what we're missing.
Having a sense of freedom to do really what. As I said, I've contained my life to a certain area and I'm very happy with it. But I just think there's an overall sense of oppression and a sense of loss of freedom that I think is not very good for humanity in general.
Concerts. I'm also a season ticket holder for the Rough Riders, so I'm really missing my football games, traveling down there, and just being able to go and see friends in other provinces. I've got friends all over the country that I had plans on visiting, and so just that.
Yeah, traveling. Like, we don't travel an awful lot, but I'd like to be able to get back to Manitoba. Now they're shut down again. And I'd like to be able to get to Calgary, but don't want to go there right now, thank you very much. But yeah, that'd be about it. Like we have a cabin up north, and we're going to go to that. But that's fairly standard. And we're self-isolating because we don't like having too many people around. But yeah, the travel thing is kind of huge.
Hugs and friends and yeah, all of that. I'm a people person, so I miss that interaction with everybody.
Being with friends, playing sports, going and doing different activities out in public, just even the small things, meeting clients in person and having meetings in person, which I never thought I would actually say, but little things like that. And as I said, even just the simple things like sitting down on a patio and having a beer on a nice summer day like this.
I miss being able to not second guess or be self-conscious of my decisions of how I decide to run my life. I feel like everything you do, you wonder who you can tell, who can know. Are you breaking a rule? Are you doing the right thing? Are you putting yourself at risk? Are you putting your family at risk? Are you putting your coworkers at risk? I miss the freedom of consciousness of just being able to decide, oh, I'd like to go out for dinner tonight, I'm going to go out for dinner tonight. So the mental baggage, I miss having that freedom from that.
The gatherings, you know, I miss my family, friends. It's tough on a lot of people for sure. You know, my mom who's stuck in a home, she's like very difficult for her to, it's day by day for them, and you know, good thing for FaceTime, you know, but they need the hugs and stuff, so that's the toughest thing for sure.
Just being around people and socializing, and that it's really creating a lot of I think it's creating a lot of mental health issues for people when they feel isolated in society. But for myself, I really do miss going out in public more.
Travel, without a doubt, travel. Yeah, I'd like to be out there. I do a lot of bicycling, motorcycling, walking, and I go to other cities to do that just because I enjoy it, and that's what I missed.
I used to go to art shows a lot. I really liked art shows. Movie theaters, that's a big one. Just stuff like that, I guess. Or I guess just like community events in general. Miss those a lot.
I miss the freedom, of course, and I miss seeing the larger crowds of people and larger gatherings and community events. So those are all things that I very much look forward to as we chart our way back to life as normal. So.
Thanks for watching this episode of Outburst on the Cable Public Affairs channel. I'm Glenn McGuinness. If you have any comments about this show or any other show, you can find us on social media. You can also find us on our website at www.cpac.ca. It's your turn to speak up, and we're listening.